All right, pre-calc students of all ages. In this video, I'm going to cover Unit 2, topics 1 through 3. Basically, a question dealing with an ellipse. First, we're going to cover how to determine what kind of conic section you have. So you're going to look at this equation that's in general form, and you're going to focus on the two terms that are squared. All right, you're going to look specifically at the coefficients, so in this case, A and B. If the coefficients are not zeros, so if they're some number and they're not the same, but they have the same sign, it's going to be an ellipse. So here you have a +2 and a +4. They're the same sign, but they're unequal. That is an ellipse. So that's how you're going to determine if you have an ellipse. Okay, I want to show you the different types of ellipses here. You'll notice the only difference between these two is where the a squared and the b squared are. So in this scenario, if the a squared is under the x, that means the major axis is horizontal, so it's going to be stretched more horizontally. That'll be a horizontal ellipse. And if the a squared is under the y, this is stretched more vertically, so it'll be a vertical ellipse. And a squared is always larger than b squared in an ellipse. So with that being said, let's look at a question that kind of has it all. So this is an equation that's in general form. They want you to put it in standard form and figure out center, vertices, co-vertices, all that stuff, and graph it. So just kind of going through what we need to do on this to make that happen. What you're going to start by doing is factoring out the coefficient of the squared term. So we're going to factor out a 4 from the x's and a 16 from the y's. So that's where we're getting this. -24 divided by 4 is -6. 64 divided by 16 is 4. Now, just a reminder, to get this number here and this number here, what you need to do is you're going to take the b term, so -6 divided by 2, and square that value. So that would be -3 squared is 9. Similarly, over here for the y's, you're going to take the b value 4 divided by 2 and square that. So that 2 squared is 4. Now you'll notice on the right side of the equation, we didn't add 9 and 4. The reason for that is you have to distribute. So the 4 times the 9 is 36. So that's why you see the plus 36 here. The 16 times the 4 is 64. That's why you see the plus 64 here. So you sum these numbers up, they add up to 144. If you were to factor these trinomials, you need numbers that multiply to 9 that add up to -6. X minus 3 times itself. Same thing here. The shortcut is if you just take this number that you got here, the b divided by 2, 4 divided by 2 is +2, and -6 divided by 2 is -3. In order to get this into standard form, it needs to be equal to 1, so you're dividing everything by 144 to get this equation here. This equation is the ellipse in standard form. So what you want to do then is exactly what I've done here. I think this makes it as the easiest possible. Okay, 36 is the larger number, so that is a squared. It's under the x, so all of this is going to be horizontal movement. A squared is 36, a is 6, so that's horizontal movement, moving left and right. B squared is 9, b is 3, that's under the y, this is vertical movement, up and down. The equation for the foci, you need to know, it's c squared equals a squared minus b squared for an ellipse, so we subtract. Take the square root. It's about 5.2. Again, this is under the x. This is going to be moving left and right. The foci and the vertices always move the same direction. Your center is 3, -2. How did we get that? It's going to be the opposite of these signs, x minus 3 and y plus 2. So +3, -2. And then to get the vertices, you're moving left and right 6. So we're going to take our center and just plus or minus 6 to the x. Co-vertices, you're moving up and down 3, so you're adding and subtracting 3 to the y coordinate. For the foci, you need an exact value. So that square root of 27, you're doing that left and right. So that is you're adding and subtracting that to the x coordinate. When you graph this, start with the center. And then you're just going to the left and to the right 6 to get your vertex here and your vertex here. Up and down 3 to get your co-vertex, your other co-vertex. And then left and right 5.27 approximately to get the foci, and then just sketching the graph. You don't need to worry about eccentricity. So that's the information you need to know in order to do Unit 2, Topics 1 through 3.